we changed this little setup.
Yeah, they needed that. Yeah, they needed that.
Everybody good? All right, good morning. Thank you for being here. Before I open it up to questions, I want to talk a little bit about some improvements we are making to how we manage the city. Baltimore has long been considered a management innovator. Since its inception, CitiStat has been replicated by dozens of cities, counties, and states throughout the country. Under my administration, Baltimore's also we've led the way in how we manage the city's finances with budgeting for outcomes. We've led other cities like Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Chattanooga, Madison, Wisconsin, are just an examples of a few cities who followed our example with outcome budgeting. When Open Baltimore was created in January 2011, we were among the first cities in America to launch an open data portal. And in June 2013, Baltimore was the 4th city in America to create the position of a Chief Data Officer. Our Innovation Fund, launched in 2011, has gained national attention. Through the Innovation Fund, we have automated reviews of building plans by our housing department and helped our environmental health services go from paper to electronic records. Efforts that improved efficiency and saved the taxpayers money. And we're at the forefront of using lean business process improvements to make government services more customer-friendly and efficient. To date, we have performed 9 lean government initiatives. Some results include dramatically reducing the red tape associated with our fire departments performing critical inspections and making it easier for ex-offenders to secure critical job placement services at our career center in Northwest Baltimore. In this year's budget, I provided almost $500,000 in funding to support our efforts to build and properly staff a citywide data warehouse. We're proud of our record, but as I continuously do, I'm always looking for what's next. How can we do an even better job providing service for the citizens of Baltimore? Innovators are restless, always looking ahead to what's the next innovation, seeking out how we can make ourselves better. So to that end, first I want to announce Samir, or Sam, Sid, will serve as the city's director of CitiStat. Sam started his government career in Maryland's State Stat office, rising quickly from analyst to acting director. Following his work at State Stat, Sam served as Deputy Chief of Staff for the Maryland Department of Transportation. Most recently, Sam has been the Chief of Special Projects and Business Improvement for the Baltimore City Department of Transportation. We are lucky to have Sam's talent and expertise to move CitiStat forward. I've also asked our Chief Data Officer, Heather Hudson, to expand Open Baltimore by adding data sets and using data analytics to solve problems and improve performance. The new data warehouse will serve as the backbone of our new data strategy. With these efforts, we will build out specific dashboards to implement a more proactive approach to data collection and analysis. We will monitor more performance indicators than ever before. We'll remove the current labor-intensive data collection processes and replace them with real-time dashboards. We'll move the focus away from agency-specific analysis, allowing for more research and analysis of multi-agency city operations and processes, because that's how cities really function, not agency by agency, but across the platforms. This will likely be a key to CitiStat's efforts to, This will be key, to CitiStat's efforts to improve accountability and performance across city agencies. We'll have far more dynamic reporting. We'll create more rapid response for ever-changing needs of operational analysis. And lastly, as we continue to push for progress, but vital to our efforts to improve outcomes for city, I also want to announce another initiative, OutcomeStat, an integration of planning, of budgeting, and performance management that I believe will help Baltimore turn the curve on our toughest challenges. Today, we will launch the city's OutcomeStat website that establishes a more collaborative, citizen-centric approach to problem solving. The site will track 21 key indicators that we're trying to move in the right direction for Baltimore's residents. From shootings to asthma ER visits to recycling, We'll ask citizens to help us understand the root causes of where we are today and share their ideas on how we can make progress for tomorrow. This effort, as well as our data warehouse effort and long-term changes to CitiStat, are not new to my administration. We have been working on OutcomeStat since last year, establishing our priority outcomes and our indicators, making sure that we had things in place that we could track the progress and be an inclusive, to track progress and also be an inclusive process. And last month, we convened a conference held over 2 days where more than 200 community partners, subject matter experts, and agency officials got together and began developing a 5-year plan for each of the 21 indicators. The plans will have targets and specific action steps. They will guide our budget decisions and will monitor that progress in OutcomeStat sessions that will be open to the public and streamed online. Today, I'm also establishing an interagency work group called the IDEA Team: Innovation, Delivery, Evidence, and Accountability. The team will be led by Andrew Klein and my Chief of Staff, Calliope Parthimos. As Budget Director for the past 7 years, Andrew skillfully and steadily guided the city through the Great Recession and led the development of my 10-year financial plan. He's also been a leader in outcome budgeting, the Innovation Fund, lean government, as well as OutcomeStat, all of which make him the natural choice for this new role. Calliope will be leading the efforts of the deputy mayors and city agencies in her role as Chief of Staff to make sure that there are no silos, that there's collaboration and coordination among our agencies, and that everyone is working together to provide the best outcomes for the citizens of Baltimore. The IDEA team's job is to promote creative thinking, experiment with promising ideas, and scale up the ideas that work. For example, I'm asking my IDEA team to expand lean training so that 1,000 employees are trained by next March. I'm asking the team to bring me a pay for success project by the end of the calendar year. I'm also asking them to work with every agency to develop an innovation fund proposal and to implement an employee innovation program. I'll also expand the OutcomeStat website into a one-stop performance portal to include our dashboards and CitiStat data so that citizens can monitor City Hall from the comfort of their living room. Again, I want to thank you all for giving me a chance to lay out some of the plans that we have been working on now that they are ready to be unveiled. And now I'm going to ask Sam and Andrew to talk briefly about their plans, and then we'll have a demonstration, a seamless demonstration of the OutcomeStat website with the assistance of Heather. Thank you very much. Sam? Thank you.
First and foremost, I want to thank you, Madam Mayor, for giving me this amazing opportunity. I'm a Baltimore guy. I grew up in the area, and I've been a Baltimore City resident for over a decade. And I also got my start in government through Governor O'Malley's StateStat program. So I think this is a great fit for me. It's going to combine my passion for Baltimore City with my passion for results-oriented government. I'm honored to have been selected for the job, and I'm going to work hard every day to make Baltimore a better place. Now, as we all know, the CitiStat model has won awards and has been copied by cities across the country. The process has a proven track record for success, but all good processes must adapt and demonstrate flexibility in order to grow. So while core principles like transparency and accountability are going to be points of emphasis for me, I'm also going to look to modernize the way we go about attaining these principles. For example, I think we can improve our transparency efforts by using tools like social media and by implementing user-friendly and interactive dashboards that allow the citizen to engage and understand the issues we face on a daily basis. There have also been amazing advances in the use of data that can improve our ability to foster accountability, make decisions, and solve problems. The mayor's already invested close to $500,000 into building a citywide data warehouse. The data warehouse will allow CitiStat to analyze up-to-date and real-time data, could save countless hours of work for city employees by eliminating manual data collection processes, and provide an opportunity to explore the use of predictive analytics, which I think is very exciting. We believe the result of implementing the data warehouse will be a better, informed, more efficient, and ultimately a more productive government. From my experience at StateStat, I've also felt that an overlooked feature of the program is its ability to increase collaboration within government and to break down traditional agency silos and address problems as they actually affect the citizen. And I want to expand on CitiStat's ability to break down government silos. And I think our new OutcomeStat process is an example of that effort. OutcomeStat will combine our outcome budgeting work with careful planning and performance management elements, focusing on cross-cutting issues like schools, health, safety, neighborhoods, cleanliness, and the economy. 21 metrics have been identified to serve as our benchmarks for progress. Our goal through OutcomeStat, very simply, is to turn the curve in these 21 areas. And we plan to do it by clearly defining strategies aimed at driving improvement, tracking the effectiveness and implementation of these strategies, and investing in strategies that deliver results. It sounds simple, but bringing outcome budgeting and performance management together is really breaking new ground in government and is something that I believe will take the stat model to the next level. Look, this is a big job, and there's a lot ahead of me and my team, but I'm eagerly looking forward to rolling my sleeves up with the mayor and getting to work. And with that, I want to introduce our budget director, Andrew Klein, who is the architect of the city's outcome budgeting program and who's going to be integral in our efforts moving forward.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
In city government, we have 14,000 employees working hard every day on some of the most stubborn problems in the world. And they're doing it in harsh conditions and with too few resources. They do it because they want to make a difference. They want to grow Baltimore, and they want to improve people's lives. I know better than anyone that we can't just throw money at our problems. And even if we could, there's no guarantee of success. The journey we are on, that every city government is on, is a search for what works to reduce crime, keep our children on the right path, improve the economy and the environment at the same time, make people healthier, push that paper a little faster, you name it. What the mayor wants is for city agencies to collaborate with each other and our partners in a tried and true process of continuous improvement. Plan, do, check, adjust. She wants us to do this with a spirit of innovation. The idea is to try new things, throw out what doesn't work, and scale up what does work. Innovation comes in all shapes and sizes, from inventing the internet, thank you Al Gore, to making toast faster. There's actually a video about that on YouTube. You might want to check it out. In city government, the opportunities to innovate are endless. Let's start with data. As the mayor said, Baltimore is a pioneer in making data available to the public through the Open Baltimore web portal. And we want to use that data to solve problems and improve services. This year, our Department of Public Works is going to inspect every alley on a 20-day cycle looking for rat burrows to bait. That's great, but what if we could use data we have to predict where the next rat complaint was going to come from, or where the next fire is going to occur, or the next case of domestic violence, or the next open parking spot. Baltimore has one of the fastest growing tech talent markets in America, and we want to connect that talent with our data to improve the quality of life for our residents in all kinds of ways. Innovation can be low tech too. In lean government, we bring frontline workers together and help them streamline bureaucratic business processes. Before lean, ex-offenders would have to visit the Northwest One-Stop Career Center multiple times over 2 weeks, sometimes more, to get the services they needed to find a job. Today, they get same-day service, and the long lines, data entry backlogs, and frazzled city employees are history. This transformation was accomplished by rethinking the flow of traffic through the center and cutting out steps that didn't add value. And all it cost us was to purchase those line belts like you see at the airport. In any large organization like the city, hundreds of thousands of hours are wasted on unnecessary steps, and that time could be used for higher value work. An example is the employee in finance who used to spend hours every month printing, laminating, cutting out and mailing retail business district licenses. Went through a lean process. Now she just emails the license to the businesses, and she uses the time she saved to improve billing accuracy. We know that with a little training and encouragement, every employee can be an innovator, and we want to build a culture of innovation from the ground up. I'm excited about working with our agencies and partners to find new ways to make Baltimore better, safer, and stronger. And with that, I would like to, with Heather's help, give you a little demonstration of the OutcomeStat website. Okay. Made some notes for myself here. So, homepage, what we have here, I don't know if you can scroll up a little bit. So we have an icon for each of the mayor's priority outcomes: better schools, safer streets, stronger neighborhoods, growing economy, innovative government, a cleaner city, a healthier city. And that magnifying glass is a link to Open Budget, which we launched last year, that allows you to drill down to the nitty-gritty details of the city's budget. So why don't we click on Better Schools? So this will take us to a screen that shows the 4 indicators under Better Schools. The mayor mentioned we have a total of 21 key indicators under our priority outcomes, and I want to go to school readiness. So what we have for each of our indicators is first a description of the indicator, so you understand what the measurement is. This is a readiness measurement that the state of Maryland developed to determine if young people are ready when they enter kindergarten. And click on show the chart, so we can see there's been a dramatic improvement over the last 10 years in kindergarten readiness among our students. So, but we're going beyond just showing you data. The OutcomeStat process has been about figuring out, well, what's the story behind that curve that we see? What are the positive factors contributing? What are the negative factors or challenges that we have to deal with? So you will see under each indicator description of those positive and negative factors. In this case, we also have a chart comparing the readiness of Baltimore's children to those of the rest of the state of Maryland. And you can see, we've been closing the gap significantly over the past several years, but this is such an important indicator that we certainly want to make more progress and improve from where we are. And that's the idea of OutcomeStat, bringing people together, figuring out, well, what works, what do we have evidence of from our past efforts around the country, around the world, and based on that, what should we try next? What should our strategies be? And as Sam said, that then feeds into the budget process, and then we will be tracking our progress along with our partners and with the public in OutcomeStat sessions. Why don't we go back to the home page? I want to show you one more example. And this one is under Cleaner City. We're going to look at the recycling rate. So this is dividing tons of recycled materials by the total tons of waste collected. So we'll show the chart. Again, we've made good progress here. Last 5 years, we've nearly doubled the recycling rate. However, we still have a long way to go to reach the target the state has set, which is 35%. So again, we've done work to determine, okay, what's going well, what are our challenges, what's in our way of achieving better performance here, and as we build out this site, you're going to see we'll refine this information, we'll add our strategies, we'll be able to put other data on this site. For example, people might be interested in knowing recycling rates by zip code, or how are the schools doing on recycling. So we'll be able to drill down into that data and share that with you and it's going to be a very dynamic site, constantly updated with new information. And if you scroll down under each indicator, there's an opportunity for citizens to comment. They can let us know, do they agree with our analysis of this particular indicator, this trend? Do they have ideas for how we can make progress? And that's the idea of taking a collaborative, citizen-centric approach to making progress on these very important challenges. So with that, I'd invite the mayor back up.
Thank you. So as you can see, there's been a lot of work that's been going on over more than a year. As I mentioned to you, I'm sure here and some other places, I've been very focused on what was next, the next generation for CitiStat, and how we can use it as a better tool to manage performance for the city. So I'm very, very pleased with where we are today. I'm looking forward to the new roles and the progress that we'll be able to make. And not just the progress, but how. This is about being innovative, being inclusive, and working in partnership across agencies and with the partner of the public. So again, thank you all very much. And we'll open it up first to questions about OutcomeStat data and
is anyone
the
else?
idea team.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just trying to remember all the different, we talked about a lot this week. So.
Is anyone else nationwide taking this approach that you're sort of using as, a resource?
Not to the full extent that we're doing it. There are cities that use a stat, have a stat program. There are cities that have outcome budgeting. There are cities that have strategic planning, and there are cities that have a combination of two of those. But I have not seen a major city that really integrates all three of those elements. And the gap we wanted to fill was especially on strategic planning to connect our budget process with CitiStat. They were operating in silos too much. So this is what's connecting the two. And you can go. KC-Stat has a site where similar to this one, but not nearly as rich in terms of digging into what's going on behind this trend. I mean, they're further along in adding new data elements and charts and things, and we'll get there. But I think fundamentally, the strategic planning piece that we have put in place is way ahead of what we've seen elsewhere.
Okay.
And it's still in development, I should say that. I mean, these plans, the mayor mentioned, we had a great conference last month, and that was a great start. There's still work to do, and those will always be living documents.
Is OutcomeStat functionally replacing CitiStat as it was?
No. So CitiStat's role is going to be to track progress on these indicators. So historically, CitiStat has focused a lot on the kind of day-to-day operational metrics, and that's not going to stop. That's critical to ensuring we're delivering good services to citizens. But we also want to take the longer view. How are we doing on achieving these greater goals for our citizens? And CitiStat has the competency to help us track that. And as the mayor said, that's going to be a very open and public process because we've been working with partners to develop these plans, and we need them to be along. The city can't achieve these kinds of goals on its own. So everyone's going to have a role, and everyone's going to be held accountable together.
And what's the layman's definition for OutcomeStat?
The layman's definition would be establishing a set of community level goals and measures of success, budgeting toward them, and tracking progress through the CitiStat.
Would it be fair to say that OutcomeStat is the goals are more based on what residents see based on the priorities?
They are longer term. They're more about the quality of life, the strength of our economy, the quality of our schools, the health of our citizens. Again, in the long term. It's not about filling potholes on time, making sure trash is collected. That's critical, and we can't stop tracking that and holding our agencies accountable. But we think it's just as important to be looking to the long term.
The CitiStat has come under some criticism over the years in terms of daily meetings and maintenance of the data and making sure it was. What do you plan to do to make sure that the day-to-day data is being tracked, and so you can make sure you're on pace for these longer-term OutcomeStat goals?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of keeping the ball rolling, in terms of meetings, I plan to follow a regular schedule. Actually, in my mind, I'd like to increase the frequency of the meetings and probably shorten them. I'd like to make the meetings more business-like, where we define our objectives up front and we identify our follow-up items after the meeting, and assign them to specific people, so that there is that culture of accountability in place. And another big goal of mine is to improve our transparency efforts. And I talked a little bit about using items like social media and dashboards to get the message out. But my general sense is that there's a lot of good work that is being done in the city. It's just a matter of getting that message out and getting out the information behind it. So right off the bat, my two big focuses, again, we got to get into a battle rhythm, but we also need to make sure that we're sharing information and doing it in a multitude of different ways.
Thank you very much. With respect to the layman's explanation, what I would say is that for me, and I've tried to articulate this to you in the past, not you particularly,
right,
but when we've talked about it, the focus of CitiStat has been on day-to-day efficiency. How quickly, after a call for service comes in, can we send someone out to clean an alley? What's the turnaround time for filling a pothole? Did the solid waste crew miss a block on its route? And while improving that efficiency and service delivery is very important, that in and of itself doesn't change the quality of life for city residents. So yes, we want to promote efficiency every single day, but I've always wanted to be bigger than that and find a way that we can collaboratively and with accountability to the public move the needle on some critical issues like we saw in those priority goals. And the work that we did that was done in the 2-day session really helped clearly define not just what the priorities are, but what those indicators are that will say if we achieve these goals, if we improve school readiness, if we improve recycling, if we do these things, we will improve the quality of life for Baltimore's residents. And we want to, having created those in a collaborative way, we also want the residents to hold us accountable in a collaborative way and also help us to achieve those goals. So that's what OutcomeStat is about. All right. Thanks. I'll move on. Then thank you all very much. Appreciate you being there. We'll transition into regular questions. Good job, Heather. Thanks, Kyle.
Mayor, the former mayor, Martin Malley, made some comments last night in the Democratic debate.
I had no idea that you even watched that.
Oh, I had great fun last night. Internet is a wonderful thing. Anyways, he made some comments about his tenure here and his policing strategy. What do you say about his view of his zero tolerance? His view of his zero tolerance policy is that he, quote, saved 1,000 lives. Would you agree with that assessment of that policy?
I'll say that there's been, last night and in the past, he's talked about the number of arrests in the city as being directly related to the homicide rate and the overall safety of the city. What I will say is that the number of arrests last year.
As DNC secretary, do you agree with the governor's push to have more than 6 debates?
You know, as DNC secretary, you know, what I've done is work with the officers and the chair to voice our opinions and concerns about you know, the number of debates and a number of other things. I do not agree that type of debate about the debate to be had, you know, to have a public argument about it, I don't think serves anybody's purpose. You know, we're not always going to agree on everything. But I think what has happened is that it's become a distraction from the fact that distraction away from what should have been and what should continue to be a source of tremendous pride. So when you look at what we saw last night on this stage, even the worst performer in the debate last night was better than the best performer in the Republican debate. When I look at the bench that we have as Democrats, I am proud that we have people who understand issues, that do not have to resort to personal attacks in order to get sound bites, that are ready to serve and ready to lead. And for me, that's what, as Democrats, we should all be talking about, and not on any internal arguments about the number of debates.
Just a quick comment on bringing up the Dawson family as an example last night.
I really don't have any comment on that.
Madam Mayor, could you discuss Interim Commissioner Kevin Davis's contract, and why, for someone who thinks that, you know, it's not fair compensation, why you believe it is?
I think it's fair compensation because it's consistent. The term of the commissioner is set by state law, and we follow that, and I'll continue to do that. He'll be confirmed, hopefully, to finish the remainder of Batts' term, which will go until June of 2020. I think the severance package that was offered to Davis and accepted by Davis, and hopefully will shortly be ratified, that contract will be ratified, is fair. It's significantly less than what others have gotten, and more than some others, and it's fair compensation. At that level, I think that you would be hard-pressed to find any contract that does not have a severance package. It's just not done. So when you know that you are, you know, as a part of a contractual obligation or contractual relationship, you need to include the severance. What we did was try to look for a way to do it in the most fair way to achieve the goal of, you know, getting a contract that both parties could agree to, but at the same time being a good steward for the finances of the city. And I'll say that because I respect my role as the fiscal steward of the city, because I'm willing to make the tough decisions that are necessary to be a good steward, the city has the highest bond rating that we've had in over 40 years. It didn't happen by accident. I didn't Forrest Gump my way into this. It's because I understand how important it is to be a steward and to make those tough decisions. And it's with that same lens that we looked at this contract, and that's why I think it's fair.
You just said
don't have a contract.
What'd you say?
Why need a contract?
I think that's pretty customary. As far as I know, every commissioner.
Well, I mean,
since I've been here.
it could be a very short-term proposition. I mean, he knows that you're not running for your election.
Short-term or long-term, the commissioners have a contract.
You just said that the number of years that the police commissioner serves in Baltimore is set by state law. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's time to update that law? Because we have had several commissioners in a short amount of time. Ed Norris, Kevin Clark, Leonard Ham, Fred Billfield. I know I'm probably missing one, but we had at least 5 or 6 commissioners in the last decade, and seven since 2000. We have not seen one to serve out a full 5-year term yet.
I think the state laws was created to help take the politics out of policing. That's why it's a staggered term. It doesn't run with the term of the mayor. I think that was done for a reason. I think those reasons are evidenced by even the conversation that we're having here now. That the public safety is more important than politics, and my focus is on making sure that we put someone in place that has the respect of the public and the rank and file officers to be able to move the city forward.
Some people have suggested that as a result of all these commissioners, that's playing a role in Baltimore's consistent crime trends. Your thoughts on that?
I think that's an interesting opinion. It's not supported by fact.
One more, guys?
Can we talk about the now suspension, I guess, or whatever we want to call it, of a 34-year veteran? What does it say, in your view, of the practices and culture of the Baltimore Police Department, that a 34-year veteran, in the face of all that has been said about conduct in policing in the past 6 months to a year, not just here but around the country, felt it was appropriate to allegedly spit on a detainee?
I think it's disgusting. Sometimes you hear things and you just like, this can't be true. That someone that's been on the job that long would do something that nasty. There are very few things that you can do to another human being that are that disgusting. And so we take it very seriously, not just because of the incident, but as you stated in your question, because of what that does to the work that we're trying to do to improve police-community relationships. What that does to tarnish the reputation and to make more difficult the work of the officers who have a great deal of respect for their position, have a dedication to the work that they do, and a commitment to the residents that they serve. They're impacted by this when somebody does something so disgusting. I'm hoping, and the commissioner I know takes it very seriously. The investigation is being conducted right now, and hopefully we'll get to some resolution, because this is, like I said, it's nasty.
I know one of the things that you had really advocated were additional ability of a police commissioner to act decisively and quickly. Is this somebody who should be fired?
Look, I don't see how you can. It's somebody, in my opinion, who should resign. If that's how you feel like you need to treat people, you don't need to serve. You're dishonoring your position, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.